Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Western Flavors. In our last episode, Amy Fleming finally hit the wall everyone saw coming. After working 15 training sessions in 5 days, juggling multiple clients across vast distances while managing construction decisions and motherhood, her exhausted mind simply stopped functioning. Caleb confronted her directly about the unsustainable pace, but she deflected with defensive walls no one could penetrate. Ty's worried attempts to help bounced off the same tired excuses about bills and necessity. The episode culminated in Amy breaking down completely in an empty barn after a close call with a spooked horse, finally releasing weeks of suppressed grief and exhaustion while a troubled mare bore witness. Meanwhile, Lisa received a surprising phone call from Ashley Stanton about potentially returning to Hudson, and late at night, Ty and Lindy continued their secret study sessions, building toward his licensing exam. If you're enjoying this season, please hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a chapter. Quick note before we jump in, I've been using NordVPN and NordPass, and they've been game changers for my online security. NordVPN encrypts your connection so no one can track what you're doing online, and NordPass securely manages all your passwords so you don't have to remember dozens of them. If you subscribe through my link in the description, you'll get a huge discount, up to 73% off on a 2-year plan for NordVPN and 53% off on NordPass. Plus, I'll earn a small commission from your purchase, which really helps support Western Flavors. All right, let's get into it. Today, a face from the past returns with news that could change everything. Ashley Stanton arrives in Hudson after years away, carrying secrets about her role in Heartland's survival and bearing gifts that might finally lift the crushing financial burden destroying Amy. Old friends reconnect with mutual respect, complicated histories are acknowledged, and sometimes the help we need comes from those who understand exactly what we're fighting for. This is a story about hidden heroes, the power of community, and how sometimes being saved isn't weakness, it's grace. Saturday morning dawned clear and cool over Hudson, the kind of perfect autumn day that made Alberta beautiful despite its harsh winters. Amy woke later than usual, nearly 8 a.m., her body demanding rest after yesterday's complete breakdown. The bed beside her was empty, Ty already downstairs with Lisa and Lindy. She lay there for a moment, remembering the empty barn, the tears, the complete collapse of every defense she'd built. She felt fragile this morning, like glass that might shatter if handled roughly, but also lighter, like crying had released pressure building to lethal levels. She had no clients scheduled today, relief mixed with anxiety. Every day without work was money not earned, bills not paid, reconstruction costs mounting higher. The hamster wheel in her brain never stopped spinning. Stop it, she told herself firmly. One day off won't destroy everything. You're allowed to rest. Downstairs, she found Ty and Lisa at the kitchen island, talking in low tones that stopped when she entered. They'd clearly been discussing her. "Good morning, dear. Coffee's ready. You needed that sleep."
Thanks. What time is it?
Just after 8. How are you feeling?
The question carried weight beyond simple inquiry. How was she feeling after yesterday's breakdown? After weeks of pushing too hard?
Tired, but better, I think. Clearer, somehow.
She poured coffee and sat down.
I'm sorry for snapping at everyone who tried to help, for pushing so hard, for being so stubborn about everything.
You were trying to save our family, Amy. We all understand that.
And you're not alone. We're all in this together, for better or worse. The words should have been comforting, but Amy couldn't shake the guilt. Lisa had already given so much. Ty was struggling with his own issues. Even Lindy had adapted with grace beyond her years. What was Amy contributing except exhaustion? A car pulled up the drive, interrupting her spiral of thoughts. Lisa moved to the window, her expression shifting to pleased recognition. Right on time. "Ashley's here." Through the window, they watched a sleek silver SUV park in Fairfield's circular drive. Ashley Stanton emerged, looking polished and professional in well-cut business casual clothes. She moved with the confidence of someone completely comfortable in her own skin, carrying a leather messenger bag that appeared heavy with contents. Lisa went to greet her, and moments later, Ashley entered the kitchen with a warm smile that immediately eased some of Amy's anxiety. Whatever news Ashley brought, at least she didn't look like she was delivering disaster.
Amy, Ty, it's so good to see you both. I've been keeping up with reconstruction progress through Caleb's updates, but seeing you in person is so much better.
She set the messenger bag on the kitchen island with significance.
Lisa told me about what's been happening. Amy, about how hard you've been pushing yourself, about the financial pressure crushing you. I realized I couldn't wait any longer to share what I've been working on since we all defeated Nathan together.
The mention of Nathan Price made Amy's chest tighten with remembered fear. The months-long legal battle to reclaim Heartland from his manipulative control had nearly destroyed their family. But they'd won eventually, thanks in part to Ashley's unexpected help with business expertise and legal connections.
You were incredible during that battle. I never properly thanked you for everything you did to help us.
We all played our parts. You and Lou reconciled and fought together. Caleb provided crucial information. I just brought some business knowledge. It was a team effort.
She pulled a tablet from her messenger bag, her expression shifting to serious intensity.
But after we won and you regained Heartland legally, I went back to Vancouver feeling like the job wasn't finished. The fire had destroyed everything physical. I knew from my consulting work exactly how crushing reconstruction costs could be, how they could destroy families even after surviving the initial catastrophe.
She opened the tablet, navigating to something specific before turning it toward them.
So I did something. Without telling anyone, without asking permission, I set up a GoFundMe campaign for Heartland's reconstruction.
The screen showed a fundraising page titled Rebuild Heartland, a legacy worth saving. The main image was a beautiful photo of the original barn at golden hour, horses grazing peacefully. Below it, a detailed description of Heartland's history and mission. And at the top, in large numbers, $247, 638 raised of $200,000 goal. Amy stared at the screen, her brain refusing to process what she was seeing. That couldn't be real. That was nearly $250,000.
That's not possible. How?
Her voice came out barely above a whisper.
It's very real. $247,638 from 1,217 donors across North America. I started the campaign about a month ago, right after the fire. Used my business connections and social media to spread the word, told Heartland's story, Marion's legacy, Jack's dedication, the community institution it represents.
She scrolled through the donor list, $50 here, $100 there, some donations in the thousands.
Equestrians who knew Heartland's reputation, business owners who believe in preserving family legacies, former clients whose horses you saved, people who wanted to help rebuild something that matters, the horse community taking care of its own.
Ty had moved behind Amy's shoulder, reading the comments donors had left.
Heartland saved my daughter's horse. Proud to help save Heartland. Marion Fleming's legacy deserves to continue. My gelding spent 6 weeks training with Amy Fleming. Changed both our lives.
His voice was thick with emotion.
The support has been overwhelming. People genuinely want Heartland to survive.
She pulled paperwork from her bag, official documents with her family foundation's letterhead.
But I knew even that wouldn't cover everything. The barn, the house, equipment, infrastructure costs add up fast. So I approached my family's foundation. They agreed to provide a loan.
She pushed the documents forward.
$150,000 at 2% interest over 10 years, well below any market rate. Combined with the GoFundMe money, your insurance settlement, and subsidies, you should have enough to complete everything without destroying yourself in the process.
Ty picked up the loan documents, scanning them with growing amazement.
2% over 10 years. Banks are charging 6 or 7%. Your foundation is basically giving us money.
My foundation is investing in something worthwhile. Heartland isn't just a business, it's a community resource, a legacy. Those are worth preserving.
Lisa moved forward and pulled Ashley into a tight hug. Jack would have been so grateful, so proud of what you've done. You've saved this family, Ashley.
I just did what anyone would do for a place that matters. Heartland is bigger than just one family. It's a piece of Hudson's heart.
Amy stood on shaking legs and joined the hug, holding on to Ashley like a lifeline.
Thank you. I don't have better words than that, but thank you. You just lifted a weight I didn't think I'd ever be free of.
The next hour passed in reviewing documentation and beginning to process the magnitude of what had changed. Ashley walked them through the GoFundMe campaign details, how she'd structured it, the marketing she'd done, the donor outreach. She'd put significant professional effort into this, treating it like a major consulting project.
The GoFundMe money comes with no strings attached. It's yours to use however you need. The loan has standard repayment terms, but they're flexible. If you hit financial difficulties during repayment, the foundation can restructure. We're not going to let this become another burden.
Why go to all this effort for us?
Ashley considered her answer carefully.
Multiple reasons. Partly because my business helps preserve family legacies, so this aligns with my values. Partly because Caleb is important to me and you're all important to him. But mostly because when Nathan was trying to destroy Heartland, I saw what this place means. Not just to your family, but to this entire community. Those things are worth fighting for.
You've changed so much since we first knew you.
Since I was a spoiled rich girl who made terrible decisions, yeah, I've grown up, running my own business, building something from nothing. It changed me, made me someone I'm actually proud to be.
Jack would have liked this version of you very much. Around 10:30, Lisa suggested calling Caleb to join them for lunch. Ashley had spoken with Caleb yesterday. He'd called her worried about Amy, but wanted to see him in person. Caleb, it's Lisa. Can you come to Fairfield for lunch? Ashley's here, and we have significant news about reconstruction funding. Trust me, you'll want to hear this. Perfect. See you around noon. While they waited, Ty excused himself. Scott had called about a veterinary case, a learning opportunity.
Local rancher's horse showing colic symptoms. Scott thinks it's good for me to observe assessment and treatment.
Go. Learn. This is important.
Ty arrived at the ranch to find Scott examining a clearly uncomfortable gelding. The horse was pawing at the ground, looking at its flanks, classic colic symptoms Ty recognized from studying but hadn't seen in person in years. Ty, good timing. This is Murphy, 7-year-old quarter horse. Let's start with assessment. What do you see? Ty approached carefully, observing behavior and body language before attempting physical examination.
Clear discomfort behaviors. Pawing, looking at flanks, restless movement. But no severe pain indicators yet. Still aware of surroundings. I'd say moderate colic.
Good observation. Initial assessment of severity? Ty hesitated, trying to pull from knowledge he'd been rebuilding through late-night study sessions. Colic could range from mild gas discomfort to life-threatening intestinal problems.
Based on behavior, moderate colic. Definitely uncomfortable, but not critical yet. Could be gas colic or early impaction. Would need physical examination to differentiate.
Correct. Walk me through what examination you do next.
Check vital signs first. Heart rate, respiratory rate, temperature. Listen for gut sounds in all 4 quadrants. Rectal palpation to check for impaction or displacement. Assess pain level and decide on treatment.
Perfect textbook answer. Now do it. And there was the disconnect. Knowing what to do versus confidently doing it were completely different things. Ty's hands shook slightly as he checked vital signs. Heart rate elevated but not dangerously. Temperature slightly above normal. Respiration increased but steady. All consistent with moderate colic. Listening for gut sounds was trickier. He placed his stethoscope against Murphy's barrel in the 4 standard quadrants, straining to hear the gurgles and rumbles indicating normal intestinal activity. In the upper quadrants, sounds were present but diminished. In the lower left quadrants, suspiciously quiet.
Reduced gut sounds overall. Lower left quadrant especially quiet. That's concerning.
Why concerning?
Could indicate iletionless, intestinal stasis, or gas buildup preventing normal motility. Either way, it's not moving properly.
Good. Next step? Rectal palpation. Ty had done hundreds before his disappearance, but now, facing an uncomfortable horse with his competence in question, his confidence evaporated. His movements were hesitant, and Scott noticed immediately. Ty, you're overthinking this. Your body remembers even if your brain is second-guessing. Trust your muscle memory and training. Easier said than done, but Ty forced himself through the examination, movements gradually becoming smoother as instinct began overriding anxiety. He palpated carefully, feeling for abnormalities. There, in the pelvic flexure, a firm mass consistent with impaction.
Pelvic flexure impaction. Moderate size, not completely blocking but definitely causing discomfort and reduced motility.
Excellent. Treatment recommendation? This is where Ty's uncertainty showed most clearly. His suggestions were hesitant, overly cautious, second-guessing every option.
Mineral oil via nasogastric tube to help soften and move the impaction. IV fluids to help hydrate. Banamine for pain management. Walk the horse to encourage gut motility. Monitor closely for worsening symptoms.
That's correct, but you sound like you're reading from a textbook rather than making a confident clinical decision. Why?
Because I keep second-guessing myself. What if I'm wrong? What if I miss something crucial?
Those are valid concerns for any veterinarian. We all second guess sometimes. But you can't let uncertainty paralyze you in an emergency. You make the best decision with available information, then monitor and adjust. They proceeded with treatment together, Scott handling most of the technical work while Ty assisted. After an hour, Murphy was visibly more comfortable, his pain behaviors diminishing as treatment took effect. Good prognosis. The impaction should resolve with continued treatment. As they packed up, Scott addressed what had been obvious throughout. Ty, you have the knowledge. I saw it in every assessment you made, but you don't trust yourself yet. You're overthinking every decision, doubting every instinct.
Because I keep making mistakes. Missing things you catch easily.
I've been practicing continuously for 20 years. You've had 4 years away. Of course, I'm faster and more confident, but you correctly diagnosed pelvic flexure impaction on an uncomfortable horse. You recommended appropriate treatment. That's not incompetence. That's a veterinarian rebuilding confidence after absence. He put a hand on Ty's shoulder. Give yourself grace and time. The confidence will return with practice. Ty drove back to Fairfield feeling discouraged despite Scott's encouragement. He still had so far to go before he'd be competent enough to practice independently. But at least now, with Ashley's financial relief, he could take his time, study and practice at a sustainable pace rather than desperately rushing. Caleb arrived at Fairfield just before noon, parking his truck and walking to the door with visible curiosity. Lisa had been mysterious on the phone. When she led him to the dining room, he found Amy looking more rested than he'd seen her in weeks, and sitting across from her was Ashley Stanton.
Ashley, I didn't realize you'd actually come today. I thought you said next week.
Changed my mind. This news couldn't wait.
There was a moment of uncertainty before Caleb crossed the room and pulled Ashley into a warm, friendly hug. The kind that said, "We have history, we're comfortable, this is good."
You look good. Construction management suits you better than rodeo ever did.
Less wear and tear on the body. You look great, too. Success clearly agrees with you.
They settled around the table as Lisa served lunch. As they ate, Ashley explained everything: the GoFundMe campaign, the loan arrangement, the total financial package now available. Caleb listened with growing amazement, periodically looking at the tablet to verify the numbers were real.
You raised $250,000 without telling anyone? Just quietly saving Heartland while we were all panicking.
I wanted to be sure it would work before getting hopes up.
This changes everything. The timeline, the budget stress, Amy working herself to death. You just solved all of it.
He looked at Amy directly.
You can slow down now. Stop taking every client in Alberta. Actually rest.
I know. I'm still processing it all.
And Caleb, you deserve credit too. You called me yesterday, told me how bad things had gotten. If you hadn't reached out, I might have waited longer. Your timing pushed me to act immediately.
I was desperate, watching Amy work herself sick, feeling helpless to fix it. I didn't call expecting this. I just needed someone to talk to.
I'm glad you did. Sometimes we need someone outside the crisis to see solutions.
The conversation flowed easily from there. Ashley shared more about her consulting business, explaining projects helping family businesses modernize while preserving their essential character. Caleb talked about construction progress, the challenges they'd overcome, the timeline now that financial pressure was lifted. At one point, their shared history came up naturally.
It's strange being back here. So much has changed since we were married.
A lot of water under that bridge. We were kids back then. Didn't know what we were doing.
No, we definitely didn't. But we both learned from it. Your marriage to Cassandra, my marriage to Marcus. Those taught us things about ourselves we needed to know.
Cassandra taught me about communication, about being present instead of hiding behind work when things got complicated.
Marcus taught me about compromise, about being partners instead of just passionate. Some relationships aren't meant to last forever, but they still teach us what we need to learn.
The honesty between them was comfortable, lacking any bitterness or awkwardness. They'd both grown past their failed marriage and subsequent relationships, coming out the other side as better, more self-aware people.
How long are you staying in Hudson? Is this just a visit, or are you thinking longer term?
I'm thinking about actually staying. My business operates remotely now. I've been feeling unmoored in Vancouver, successful, but not connected to anything that really matters. Being back here Helping with something meaningful, it feels right.
Where are you staying while you're here?
Dude Ranch Hotel for now. I'll find something more permanent if I decide to stay long term.
The Dude Ranch is nice, but expensive for extended stays. There are better rental options if you're planning to be here a while. I can help you look if you want.
I'd appreciate that. You know Hudson's rental market better than I do these days.
There was something in how they looked at each other. Not the volatile passion of their youth, but something quieter. Mutual respect built over years. Genuine friendship that had survived divorce and distance. And maybe underneath it all, possibility. The afternoon passed in easy conversation. Around 3, Ty returned from his veterinary case with Scott, looking discouraged but trying to hide it. Ashley walked him through the financial details again, answering his technical questions about loan structure and repayment terms.
So realistically, monthly payments will be around $1,300 once the loan begins?
The loan doesn't begin until reconstruction is complete. That gives you breathing room to get Heartland operational and generating income before repayment starts.
That's incredibly generous. Most banks would require immediate payments.
We want Heartland to thrive, not just survive. Building in flexibility ensures that.
Around 4:30, Ashley stood to leave, explaining she had some work calls scheduled for the evening.
I should get going too. Early crews starting at the construction site tomorrow morning.
They headed out together, and through the window, Amy and Ty watched them talking by their vehicles. The conversation appeared easy, both smiling and laughing about something. Then they hugged goodbye, warm and friendly, and headed to their respective vehicles. But Caleb didn't drive away immediately. He sat in his truck for a moment, appearing to gather courage, then got back out and walked over to where Ashley was opening her door. From inside, no one could hear what was said, but they could see Caleb speaking, Ashley's face lighting up with a pleased smile, both of them nodding. Another brief hug, and this time when they separated, both were grinning.
What do you think that was about?
I'd guess Caleb just asked her out for coffee or something. Looks like she said yes.
Good for them. They both deserve happiness, whatever form that takes.
Agreed.
That evening, the Borden Fleming family gathered in Fairfield's living room after dinner. Amy, Ty, Lindy, and Lisa. The mood was lighter than it had been in weeks. The crushing financial pressure finally lifted. So does this mean we're not poor anymore? The blunt question from their daughter made everyone laugh.
We were never actually poor, sweetheart. Just stretched very thin financially. And yes, Ashley's help means we're not stretched thin anymore.
Good, I was worried about you, Mom. You were working too hard.
I know, and I'm sorry for worrying you. I'm gonna slow down now. Take on fewer clients. Actually rest.
We both are. Both of us have been pushing too hard for different reasons.
Jack would be so pleased, not just about the financial relief, but about you two finally agreeing to take care of yourselves. They talked for a while longer about plans for reconstruction, about Ashley's potential return to Hudson, about how strange and wonderful it felt to have the crushing weight of financial pressure finally lifted. Around 9, everyone began heading to bed earlier than usual after weeks of stress and exhaustion. But around 11, Ty received a text from Caleb, asked Ashley to coffee tomorrow afternoon. She said yes. Taking it slow, no pressure, just catching up. Feels right though. Thanks for everything, man. Ty smiled at his phone and showed the message to Amy, who was already in bed reading.
Looks like Caleb made his move. Good for him.
Good for both of them. They're both different people now than they were during their marriage. Maybe different enough to make it work this time, or maybe they'll just be good friends. Either way, it's nice to see them both happy.
Agreed. Everyone deserves second chances.
Later that night, after Amy had fallen into peaceful, truly restful sleep for the first time in weeks, Ty made his way downstairs to the library where Lindy was already waiting with her handmade flashcards and study materials. Their secret study sessions continued, but tonight felt different. Lindy seemed to sense his thoughts before he spoke. You're wondering if you still need to do this, now that Ashley solved the money problem.
Is it that obvious?
Kind of. But Dad, you're not just doing this for money. You're doing it because being a veterinarian is who you are. That didn't change just because Ashley brought money. She was absolutely right. The financial urgency had driven him initially, providing desperate motivation to study until past midnight every night. But the deeper need remained, reclaiming his professional identity, feeling useful and competent, contributing something meaningful.
You're right. This isn't about money anymore, if it ever really was. It's about me. About reclaiming who I am at my core.
Exactly. So let's study Show Me What You Learned from Working with Dr. Cardinal today. They settled into their routine, Lindy asking questions from her flashcards, Ty answering with gradually increasing confidence, working through the material methodically. But tonight Ty felt less desperate, less frantically urgent. The financial pressure was gone, which meant he could focus purely on learning instead of panicking about timelines and necessity. They studied for 2 hours, working through pharmacology and diagnostic procedures and treatment protocols. Around 1 a.m., they wrapped up their session, both tired but satisfied. You're getting better, Dad. Every session you remember more, you answer faster, you doubt yourself less.
Thanks to you, I couldn't do this without your help.
Yes, you could, but it's more fun together. As Ty climbed the stairs to bed, he felt something shift in his perspective. Yes, he still struggled with practical application. Yes, he still doubted himself constantly, but the financial crisis that had been driving his desperate late-night studying had been solved by someone else's heroism. That freed him to pursue veterinary medicine for the right reasons: love of the work, desire to heal, need to reclaim his identity, rather than just financial desperation. He slipped into bed beside Amy, who stirred slightly but didn't wake. She was sleeping deeply, peacefully, without the tension that had been present in her body for weeks. The financial relief had already begun working its magic. Ty lay awake for a while longer, thinking about everything that had changed in just one day. Ashley's return, the financial salvation, the lifting of crushing pressure, Caleb's cautious but hopeful reconnection with his ex-wife. So much had shifted, creating space for healing and growth that hadn't seemed possible 24 hours ago. Tomorrow would bring Caleb and Ashley's coffee date, the beginning of something new built on lessons learned from something old. It would bring continued construction progress now properly funded. It would bring Amy's recovery from self-destructive overwork, finally able to rest without guilt. And it would bring Ty closer to reclaiming who he'd been before absence tried to erase him. The path forward remained challenging, but for the first time in weeks, it felt possible rather than impossible. And sometimes, that shift from impossible to possible was everything. That concludes today's episode of Heartland. Ashley Stanton returned to Hudson bearing gifts that changed everything: a GoFundMe campaign raising nearly $250,000 and a low-interest family loan that finally lifted the crushing financial burden destroying Amy. Her generosity came from genuine care for what Heartland represents to the entire community. Caleb and Ashley reconnected with mutual respect and comfortable friendship built on years of growth and maturity, acknowledging their past marriage and subsequent divorces with honesty and without bitterness. The episode ended with Caleb asking Ashley for coffee, a small but significant step toward exploring whether second chances were possible. Ty struggled with practical veterinary application during a colic case, his knowledge present but confidence still rebuilding slowly. And Amy, finally able to rest without guilt about lost income, began the slow process of recovery from self-destructive overwork that had nearly destroyed her. The financial crisis was solved through community support and one woman's determination to preserve a legacy worth saving. But personal journeys of healing and growth continued. Ty's quest to reclaim his professional identity, Amy's need to learn sustainable pacing, Caleb and Ashley's careful exploration of new possibilities built on old foundations. Join us next time when Caleb and Ashley's coffee date reveals deeper feelings than either expected. When Amy takes her first real day off and discovers what happens when you finally stop running. When Ty makes a breakthrough in his veterinary studies, and when construction progress accelerates now that financial constraints have been lifted. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. Until next time, this is Western Flavors.